They don't play. Ha! Free the hard way. Yeah. Yeah.
Welcome back, y'all, to a new episode of Free the Hard Way. I am Tariq Rashad, or as it says, Mr. Ty in the corner. I'm here with Merryman Rob.
Sir. This is Big Game Hunter, man. This is just
What?
Big Game Hunter.
Spit Game Hunter.
Big Game Hunter.
Big Game Hunter. Oh, because it's a play on the Knicks, I'm assuming.
No play on Knicks.
No play on the Knicks?
No play on the Knicks, man.
I like that jacket you got on, man. Whose jacket is that?
Attention Club. Shout out to Philip Fortune, who was a guest on our show last week. Had to cop some merch. Make sure you cop some merch at Attention Club. And also I'll check out our videos on his website. Check out his blog, man. His blogs, he has really good takes. Check him out, man. Good guy.
Word up. Shout out to Philip Fortune. Being on the show last week. Tom Brady lover, Rob's best friend, and Rob's arch enemy, Tom Brady. We got a good show for you guys today. We're going to talk a lot of different topics, some football. Definitely going to jump back into some of those quotes that we got from last week. Some NBA talk, and then we're going to go down the stretch, talk a little bit of baseball, I believe, UFC, and some tennis. So we're going to jump right into it, starting right off the gates with the NFL. A lot of stuff going on with the NFL and the quarterback carousel. A lot of big quarterback possibly being moved. Matt Stafford was just moved to the Rams. Jared Goff to the Lions. So, what are you guys feeling? Who do you think should go where? What team do you think should make a move on a quarterback that's still out there? What are you guys' sentiments on this?
I think that the NFL, the quarterback carousel is good for the NFL. Usually it's the NBA dominating off-season talks, and now it's the opposite, the NFL, the quarterback carousel and where people are going. So it's good. It's good for NFL, keeping relevant in the off-season, which is awesome. What I would like to see, man, a couple of things. I'm all for my black quarterbacks, man. I definitely want to see redemption of my Florida State, one of my Florida State favorites, and Jameis Winston. I would love to see him play for a winning team and kind of rebound his career. Hopefully it will be with the Colts. Ideally, I would want it to be with the Saints, but I just think that Breeze might come back this year, even though he said that he might retire. And then the backup that they got over there is Hill. He's a perfect fit for whatever the creativity that Sean Payton has. So, as much as I want him to be over there and be Aaron Brooks 2.0, I don't think that is going to happen. I think that he has to move along. And then the second thing I want to see is to see my boy Deshaun Watson in the big media, man. Bring him to the Jets, man. Bring Deshaun with the Jets with Robert Saleh. Bring him over here with them. You know what I'm saying? And then if the Jets if they can, pair him with Allen Robinson, that might be something for New York Jets fans to be excited about. So those are the two things I want to see happen. I ultimately think Winston's going to get moved. I don't think that he's going to get moved soon, but we'll see what happens.
Man, anybody trying to see Jameis Winston, then no winner in Indy. If anything, Indy trying to get Carson Wentz. There's a marriage there, formerly married between Frank Wright and Carson Wentz. That's when they had their quote-unquote MVP run. But I'm not going to talk about the Eagles, man. I'm talking about the Falcons. My boy Matt Ryan, sources are telling me that his day is a number. Our new general manager, he was the former scouting personnel for the New Orleans Saints. And one of the things that I've been reading up on him is that he says he wants competition at every position. And what that tells me is that Matt Ryan's day is a number. I can see us potentially drafting the quarterback, even though I personally don't want us to draft the quarterback. But when your GM says, hey, we need to add to our strengths, and one of our best players is Matt Ryan, his days might be numbered. The other thing about Deshaun Watson, John, I just heard today I know there's a lot of rumors swirling around, but the Carolina Panthers are extremely interested, man. I heard they're offering, and I quote, Christian McCaffrey and 3 first-round draft picks for the boy. So listen, man, Deshaun Watson is a hot commodity. I don't know if you're going to get a better offer than that, but I would hate to see him not in the red and black in Atlanta, man. I hate to see him in division. So that's my takes on the quarterback carousel. And like you said, Ty, last thing, if any team wants a quarterback, man, this is the offseason to get it. There are quarterbacks out there to be got, man. So if you want them, stop playing games and go get them.
Yeah, I couldn't say it better, Rob. I feel like, just going to name some of the guys outside of Matt Stafford and Jared Goff that were moved. John, you already talked about Jameis and Drew Brees. There's conversation there. So I guess you have to put Taysom Hill in that conversation as well. Justin Fields in the Carson Wentz situation, you don't know what's going on there. I think in Green Bay, you're kind of set with Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love. I think that Jordan is going to have to sit and learn the same way Aaron had to for the beginning of his career. But in New York, you got Sam Darnold. I think the Giants are sold on Danny Dimes. I'm sold on Danny Dimes, but I don't know if that same sentiment is felt in green and white. So Sam Darnold, Deshaun Watson, Cam Newton just finished a pretty subpar. I'm going to use the word subpar season for even his standards. So we don't know what's going on in New England. You guys mentioned the Colts, Phillip Rivers. He hung it up. So there's a decision that needs to be made there. Is Jacoby Brissett the guy? They did pay Jacoby Brissett a good amount of money 2 years ago. So when you say like Jameis Winston taking his spot, I don't think Jameis Winston can just walk. I don't think Jameis Winston can walk into any spot right now. I think he's going to have to compete for any spot that he has. Washington has some quarterback situations. So not to really harp on any situation that I want to see, other than I want to see Justin Fields actually get a shot. But Rob says he don't want to talk about Philly. But I just truly believe that someone has to underperform. That can be the only excuse as to why you don't have the guy that you, not necessarily that you want, but a guy worth it going into the start of next season. Because underperformance or injury, because there's too many quarterbacks just mulling around, and these guys are pretty good. So some of these guys, I don't know if, I think Deshaun Watson is a franchise quarterback, and after that, it's kind of toss up. So let's see. But I hope that teams actually get out there and actually make moves on some of these guys, and we're not looking at the same guys in the same places next year. Speaking of same guys in the same places next year, there's another one in Houston who will not be there. JJ Watt was released from the Houston Texans. And it's JJ Watt. So the sweepstakes are on, I should say. Where do you guys want to see JJ Watt go? What are you hearing about JJ Watt's movements?
Man, my source is telling me that he's really interested in Cleveland. Although I personally wouldn't like to see him in Cleveland.
Ooh, JJ on one side, Myles Garrett on the other.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. But I personally want to see him in Kansas
Sheldon
City.
Richardson in the middle. I'm gonna stop. Go ahead.
I want to see him in Kansas City, dog. I feel like they this Super Bowl showed them that they need defensive playmakers, and Tyrann Mathieu isn't enough. And although they have Chris Jones and Frank Clark and all these other players, I feel like they need some defense, somebody that can wreak some havoc and be a game changer, And I feel like, if JJ Watts wants to win a championship, why not go to KC? Aside from them, he's being recruited, man. He's a hot commodity. So, other than that, I heard what's his name? DeAndre Hopkins wants him back in Arizona so they can finish what they started. So, but my teams, I want to see him in KC, and I heard the Browns.
I'm going to switch gears here. I'm not going to talk about where J.J. Watt is going, but I'm going to talk about where he's been and what that means for this organization. It speaks volumes to where the Texas is at right now. It's almost like the American Civil War. Like, you with us or you're not. You with us if you're not, and if you're not, then get out of here. And that's pretty much what's happening right now. Every player that has spoken out against the Texans organization and front management has been shipped, whether that's DeAndre Hopkins, whether that's Kenny Stills, whether that's now JJ Watt. The only person that hasn't been shipped is Deshaun Watson. They play him a boatload of money, and they believe that he's a franchise guy. For me, it just shows you kind of where the Texas organization is, and that doesn't bode well for the players. Like, why would I want to go to an organization that doesn't care about the players or doesn't not care about the players, but that penalizes players for speaking out their conscience in their mind? Like, I can understand if you're penalizing me for my performance on the field, and that's one thing, but you're penalizing me for my conscience and speaking my mind on things that are known to be fact and are proven to be showing that this is how you guys operate. That's not on me. That's on you guys, the organization. And with that being said, I just feel like Houston's going to be in trouble for the next 3 years. They got a fresh head coach with a unhappy locker room, with a unhappy front office, and a unhappy franchise quarterback. That bodes recipes for disaster. So I don't see the Texans making the playoffs anytime soon.
Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
And if you're that head coach, bro, I wouldn't be surprised if they have a quick leash on. They're going to need a scapegoat. And we know who the scapegoats usually are in these situations. It's the coach.
I'm going to be brief. I think it's funny that you mentioned that Texas is basically imploding right now. It's funny because 2 years ago they were up 24-0 or 24. I believe it was 24-0 on Kansas City Chiefs, who would go on to win the Super Bowl that year. I remember it kind of reminds me of Jacksonville when they were up big on not up big, but should have had the game against New England on New England's way to the Super Bowl a few years back, and then Jacksonville basically imploded. But yeah, the Texans have gone 180, completely 180, losing two of the three of their biggest stars, in JJ Watt and DeAndre Hopkins over the last 2 years. Deshaun Watson likely on his way next. For JJ Watt though, I want to see him go somewhere and actually be good. I want to actually see him finish the season. I want there to not be as much pressure on him. I want him to be in the JPP role or in a role where he can kind of come off the sideline a little bit more. More in a spell role where he can stay fresh, because Houston pinned a lot on him and he barely made it through the season. And when he does, the defenses were always good. Where I don't want to see him go, stay away from Cleveland and stay away from Pittsburgh, brother.
I'll stay away from Cleveland.
Stay away from Cleveland. Stay away from Pittsburgh.
Respectfully.
Because I can't afford that. So I'm going to need JJ to, go to the NFC South. But Rob, also that last point, I do think that Kansas City needs to make a move for a star. I think that they've done a lot of homegrown building with Mecole Hardman and Tyreek Hill, Patrick Mahomes, CEH. They've done a great job. Even Kelsey's from there. They've done a great job. Sometimes you got to buy some people, and if you really got to buy some people to make a difference, it's on that side of the ball. It's on the defense. You see what Tyrann Mathieu was able to do when he got there. You got to buy some folk. And JJ Watt is on the market. You got to go as hard as you can to get him if you can.
Don't forget last year that they brought Terrell Suggs in at the end of the year and brought some guys to fill in those holes. So I agree with you 110%. It's not far-fetched to see that they won't invest into some free agency money this year.
I mean, you got to do it. But we'll be back with some more basketball talk and some quotes.
They don't play.